And anyway, when it came time for Stephen A. Smith to speak, he was talking about LeBron, and he went back to something that he used to say years ago, which was LeBron has this fetish of trying to control the narrative. Before, I didn't know what he meant years ago, like in 2010, 2011. I didn't know what he meant. Now I do. So yesterday, he revisited that, and he was talking about LeBron's, insatiable appetite to control the narrative. But then he went a step further, and he said something I did not know, and I was totally unaware of, which was, he said that LeBron secretly confronts certain people who have opposing views or who don't say nice things, or basically tries to coax them into saying nice things about them. And I'm like, wait, what? What is this about right now? Because I never heard this before. So what we want to do is want to play exactly what Stephen A. Smith had to say over at live ESPN airwaves, and then we're going to come back and react to what he had to say. Take a listen to what Stephen A. Smith had to say here on ESPN First Take yesterday.
We're going to make sure that LeBron James' camp doesn't get to pull off what they will try to pull off. Because you see, the narrative is already, we're blaming LeBron James for the firing of coaches. That's not what this discussion is. What this discussion is us debating that another firing that has occurred under his watch, whether or not that compromises quote-unquote GOAT status in the eyes of a Shannon Sharpe or Kendrick Perkins or Stephen A. Smith and others. That is what the debate is. See, they'll leave. And what they'll say is, oh, LeBron James is getting blamed for the firing. We're not saying that. What we're saying is that you're not as innocent and you're not some just mere spectator in this whole scenario the way you try to pretend to be. That is what we're saying. We're not going to let LeBron James and his camp get away with that. We're not blaming him for the firing. What we're saying is you can't be as great as you proclaim to be, as we know you are, in today's NBA game, and be completely innocent and oblivious and distant, having nothing to do with the firing of yet another coach. That is impossible. That's all we're saying. But having said all of that, while acknowledging that that's a reality that he has to live with, there's a bigger narrative to touch on. And that is the fact that LeBron James has brought these debates on himself, Shannon, because of this insatiable appetite he has to control narratives. It's what he does. Nobody, I repeat, nobody, no star in the history of sports has gone about the business of methodically, systematically, continuously trying to control the narrative. And I have proof. That podcast that him and JJ Redick have, let me be the first to say, it's a great podcast. You want to learn some basketball, you listen to them brothers. I ain't throwing no shade on them. I love JJ and the job he's doing. I appreciate LeBron, his greatness, and his cerebral approach, educating us about the game of basketball. But why would you choose to do that in your 21st season approaching age 40? Because you know why? You want to make sure that you're the guy that gets to put your fingerprints on narratives, because you have proven throughout the years that you care about that. Well, we're here to say, yo, you got your approach, we got ours. You got your penchant for control of the narrative, we got ours. And oh, by the way, you're talking about you. So therefore, you ain't going to be but so objective. We, on the other hand, are going to be very objective. Shannon, you and I disagree, but we don't fail to acknowledge the greatness of LeBron James and how he's on the Mount Rushmore of basketball. Kendrick Perkins, you are a friend. You've known this man for decades, which is why you repeatedly will tell people to kiss your ass when they come to you trying to tell you how you supposed to be talking to and about LeBron James. Who the hell are they? Because you know them. You see what I'm saying? But you've had to do it. Why did you have to do it, Kendrick Perkins? Because that man allowed people to approach you to try to infiltrate a narrative he may have disagreed with that you, me, Shannon, or somebody else has put forth. This is what he does. This is what he has done. And there is no escaping that.
You heard what Stephen A. Smith had to say. Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. When he said that, I was floored. I was actually floored, and I'll tell you why. There's been this kind of running joke in the NBA community, especially among fans, that certain voices in sports media are bought and paid for by Clutch Sports. And whenever you see somebody, to use the word, glazing super hard, people begin to speculate like, yo, they must have got to him. They must have got to him, right? And it seems to be like a running joke, but then it's not a joke because there's some truth to this. And I believe that there are a few people out there that you can attribute this to. I remember a number of years ago on Undisputed when Shannon Sharpe used to be there. And this was when Joy Taylor used to be the moderator. And it was her, Skip Bayless, Steven Jackson, Shannon Sharpe. And Joy Taylor said something. She said the quiet part out loud. She said, I know why all of a sudden Shannon became a LeBron guy. And Skip was like, what was going on here? He was like, I heard they got to him. And Steven Jackson was like, yeah, I heard that too. So the question is who? Who is the they?